Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingston, and we have a very special MMA wrap edition. Plenty happening on Netflix with Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor returning. Massive news for fight fans. Firstly, of course, we had to bring in our favorite fight analyst. He's a videographer extraordinaire, cameraman, Northern Beaches boy, kickboxer, future Manly Muay Thai champion. He's just come back from his fight camp in Thailand. 8 days. He survived the Bucks party. Tommy Hayfield, welcome back to the show, mate. How are you?
What a wrap, Dane. That's an amazing intro. Yes, back in one piece, survived the Bucks. Hardly a fight camp, but it was a good mix, man. It was good fun and plenty of laughs to be had over there. It was pretty much just 8 days of laughing with your mates. It was epic. How have you been, bro?
I'm good, mate, but who cares about me? 8 days in Thailand. He's still looking very fresh. You were supposed to get a tattoo over there, 2 guns. Have we got a tattoo news? Anything at all?
Oh, Dane, to be honest, I didn't. I was scared of getting a rash and I was training over there. You know, the sweat and the henna tat. I don't know if it was a good mix. You know, you don't want to get staph in any of those gyms. You don't want any, so I just had to play it safe there, Dane. But I feel bad. I did back out on our bet and that was probably the perfect place to get one.
You've seen The Hangover too, right? Like you could have ended up like him with the face tat. They were in Thailand, right? That wasn't you.
True, lucky, yeah, no, I would have been horrified if that happened. So yeah, I'm glad back in one piece, no permanent tattoos, but yeah, I do owe you a 2 guns henna tattoo at some stage in the next, year or so.
The punishment at Oz, not going to let you live that one down, mate. We're going to keep on you as this all goes along, Tommy. I do want to hear more about it, but firstly, let's just get into the fights, mate, because it was an interesting weekend. Normally we're here talking about a UFC pay-per-view or something like that, but this was the debut of MVP MMA on Netflix, run by Jake Paul, who we all know by now. I was just reading into the numbers. Obviously, we all know the story. Headlined by Ronda Rousey against Gina Carano. No surprise, an armbar, Tommy, after 17 seconds. Her go-to signature move. Not a surprise at all. Some people probably upset, but it's no real surprise. Ronda hadn't fought in a decade. Carano hadn't fought since 2009. So I don't think there was any surprises on how the fight went. As a fight fan, you and I both watched Ronda Rousey's rise to become like a global superstar, only second to Conor McGregor at one point there during MMA. Firstly, mate, just the main event. Could it ever have really gone any other way?
Well, the classic, her signature move, the armbar, 17 seconds. The fight barely got going and it was done. I feel a lot of people were a bit upset that it went so quick, but in Ronda's words, that was the perfect fight for her because she didn't want to hurt her idol and she got it done and no one got injured. No one, copped too much damage. So good on her. That's for her to be able to do that so quick is so impressive and just shows that that's her signature move. And what a spectacle. I liked it. It was overall a pretty cool event. I enjoyed it. What about you, Dane?
I think the main thing for me is, like, I know it was gimmicky and a lot of people didn't like it for that. When this wasn't a card that was pitting top 10 against top 10 and title contenders and all that type of thing. This was supposed to be a gimmicky thing, right? Like, it was supposed to bring these big names back to the sport. Obviously, we also had Nate Diaz and the co-main, Francis Ngannou, who all fight fans are aware of those two guys. I mean, we'll get into their fights as well. But it was a spectacle. It was something different. It was free on Netflix if you have an account. That part of it was great. Whether it turns into a long-term thing, I'm going to throw this at you right now because we can confirm it has been the most watched mixed martial event of all time. Now, previously that was held by UFC on Fox and that heavyweight showdown. Was that Dos Santos Velasquez? Was that what it was? I got to do my
I
numbers.
thought it was a McGregor Khabib card that held
No, free
the
to wear.
most.
As far as free to
Oh,
wear
free to wear.
goes,
So
yeah, this
yeah.
was the biggest ever. Formerly, it was UFC on Fox One. Now, this one did 11.6 million viewers in the US, as many as 17 worldwide. So that just goes to show there is an appetite for fights outside of the UFC. I mean, pretty amazing numbers, right, mate? Like, are you shocked when you saw that? This has now beaten anything the UFC's ever put out.
That's huge, and what a statement to the UFC. This is, the brain of Jake Paul, and he's creating something, creating another avenue for fighters, creating another another draw card for fighters to go to and earn some more money. And what a debut. And yes, on Netflix, the biggest platform in the world. And with those kind of numbers, you'd have to call it a success. And congratulations. I think it's awesome. And the only people that are probably upset with this is the UFC.
And Uncle Dana did have something to say about that because the most interesting part about this too was UFC didn't even try and fight this card. They put on a fight night at the same time, and that was headlined by Arnold Allen and Mills Costa. Arnold won by 5-round decision. And that was just an Apex card. And I don't think many fight fans would have chosen that over this. But Uncle Dana did save something up his sleeve because he did announce, I believe it was when Francis Ngannou was walking out, that Conor McGregor would return. So as much as the UFC didn't care about putting on a fight, Uncle Dana kept something in the gun holster, right? Because that's a pretty big blow. And we did talk about it on this show, Tommy. You were right on the money. We did talk about Holloway versus Conor, and you were right, mate, because that fight has been made. I'll get back to Netflix. We're just on that. Amazing news. Notorious One hasn't fought since 2021. Went down that broken leg in the trilogy fight against Dustin Poirier. Will be back in Holloway. It's a rematch of the fight they had over a decade ago, which Conor won by decision. Now he's back. He's been out for 18 months. He was at a drug suspension before this. He was scheduled to fight Michael Chandler 2 years ago. None of that eventuated. Now 5 years, he will headline International Fight Week. Tommy, Connor's back, baby. How does it feel?
He's back. Good or bad for fans the other week, and Conor McGregor coming back is good for fans. And look at it. We manifested this, Dane, and we manifested the Holloway rematch. This was pretty cheeky of Dana White. I feel like this was a bit sassy on his behalf. He's kind of dropped this mid-event. He's trying to take some of the shine off it. He's trying to take some of those eyes away from, especially Francis Ngannou walking out. They've got their differences. He's an heavyweight UFC world champion. But man, Conor McGregor's back. I fear for him because Max Holloway has been fighting the best of the best for the last 10 years and is an absolute weapon and is just getting better with age. And Conor McGregor is fresh from the nightclub / fresh off the couch and his private yacht with his billions of dollars. So who knows, man? If Conor McGregor can pull this off, this might reignite the fire and we could see a few more fights out of him. If he gets absolutely fed, this could just be, embarrassing, I guess.
We've got to hope that he's going to keep his nose clean between here and then, mate, because we all know what he's like on those yachts and the stories and the lawsuits and everything that he's been involved in the last 5 years. And we're going to see how much that hunger drives him. I think as fight fans, we can just all appreciate. We wanted to see him one more time, right? It's been 5 years. He's still not past it yet as far as age goes. We just want to see him back there one more time, right?
And credit to him. He doesn't have to come back. He's got all the money. He's got everything he needs. So it shows that he is a fighter. He is a mixed martial artist. He misses that, that adrenaline rush. He misses training. He misses having that purpose. So for him to come back is actually a really nice things and a nice thank you for long-term fans, I feel, because who isn't going to tune into a Conor McGregor fight? And man, the UFC would be so stoked with this. This is literally their golden ticket and their trump card, and they pulled it out and they literally announced it during the Jake Paul MVP Netflix event. So I'm excited, man. This sport, this is just good for fans. There's multiple avenues. There's people, there's rivalry, there's competing companies now. It's good stuff.
I think I'm just most happy about is seeing him back because I think we're just so fearful that it wouldn't happen again. And I think the most exciting part of that is no matter how the fights go, and I do have grave doubts on how he will go against, like you said, Holloway, who's been tuned up fighting the best of the best in the UFC, while Conor McGregor's been out yachting around the world with supermodels and bags. But it will be interesting to see how he gets in there and whether he can do it. I think no matter what, it's going to be a very, very exciting build up. No matter what happens in the octagon for that 5 minutes, for that 25 minutes, however long it ends up going, the fight, seeing Conor back, the hype that's going to bring to fans around the world. You can say what you want about his career and how it's gone the last few years, but people are going to get behind Conor. You're going to see the Irish flags. People are going to go nuts. There's a whole different vibe and energy around a Conor McGregor fight. It's an event. It's a worldwide event. And no matter how long he's been out for, and his recent history, you know fans are going to turn out, right? I'm excited as a fight fan. You're excited as a fight fan just to see him back, even if he gets towed up by Holloway, which I think is a real possibility. Let's just hope this fight does go through. There's no dramas, and we see Conor in there one more time. I just had to
Even
sidetrack to that. We do want to get back to Netflix,
even
but just
the even the press conferences and stuff are just like a spectacle. Like, I can't wait to just see him on the mic. And what kind of Conor McGregor are we going to see? Are we going to see a humble, respectful Conor McGregor to Max Holloway, who's obviously a legend in the sport, the BMF, ex-BMF champ, he's done it all. So are we going to see a respectful Conor, or are we going to see, that rude, out loud spoken, hilarious Conor McGregor on the mic? The only thing that's a little bit annoying is Max Holloway is pretty respectful and minimal chat on the mic. So he doesn't really have the best dance partner there in terms of at the press conference with the to and fro. But definitely in the cage, he's a crazy opponent.
if there's anyone who can bring it out, though, it is Conor, right?
That's true. That's true. It'll be interesting to see if he gets under his skin. But Max is a pretty cool, calm, and collected character. He's been around the traps, and he knows how to handle himself.
No, you are right. And we are going to obviously also see our boy Robert Whittaker back as well. Now, it's UFC 329, McGregor Holloway 2. It will be at the T-Mobile Arena. That is on July 12 for Australian fight fans. Paddy Pimblett, Benoit Saint-Denis on the main card as well. Corey Sandhagen, Mario Bautista, Brandon Royval, Lorna Kavanagh. And Robert has been demoted to the prelims. So I believe he is going to be the head prelim on the card. A little bit of a downfall, but he's still on a Conor McGregor card, right? And that's still big news for Bobby. And it will be his light heavyweight debut. So it's going to be great to see him back there too, man, and to see if he can bounce back
That's huge.
after a couple of losses, right? It's going to be good to see our boy Bobby Knuckles back.
Definitely, that's huge. You'd take any spot on a Conor McGregor fight, but seeing him debut at light heavyweight is going to be exciting. And I'm really excited for Paddy Pimblett and Benoit Saint-Denis. I think that is going to be fireworks. There's two guys there, they're in the prime of their life, then they're so entertaining, and that's going to be a war. And what a co-main event, and that just shows the star power of Paddy Pimblett as well, and how much the UFC is pushing him and his character, and he could be the successor to Conor McGregor one day. You never know.
Mate, I love it. And Cody Garbrandt, Tracy Cortez on the undercard as well. So they've stacked that card, mate. That is one to watch. But let's not get too sidetracked. I did just want to wrap up on the MVP side of things.
We got excited there, Dane. We got excited. Any Conor McGregor, look at us go. That was like a 15-minute sidetrack, but I'm into it.
We'll go for it, mate. Bring it on. I can't wait. I'll get the day off. I might get the week off. Mate, just on the payouts too, I saw Ronda was officially down for $2.2 million for that fight. So for 17 seconds, that worked out to $129,000 a second, Tommy. We'd do anything for that money, wouldn't we?
That's, the amount of armbar she's practiced, and look at that. Look where it got her, and look how much money it made her in the end. So good on her. I feel like Ariel Helwani, I was listening to his podcast, he reckons all those figures are incorrect, and they're just like, but who knows? But I did enjoy seeing him announcing in the ring after the fights. He does such a good job. I love his podcast, and I thought he was really, really good at that role.
No, 100%, mate. I would love listening to his potty as well. Does a great job. 2.2 million, I reckon that would be minimum. Like, even if that is not true, like, she's getting that sponsorships deals, and she's been very vocal, whether she fights again or not. It's probably unlikely that she does, but she wants to be involved in the promotional side. She's sort of trying to like put a bit of a claim politically to be like a Dana White or the next gen Dana White. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I did hear Ariel interview Jake Paul and asking him, do you want Ronda to stay involved in that sort of capacity if this MVP thing turns into a long-term potential competitor to the UFC? And she's very open, and he seemed to be open as well to her being some sort of figurehead role, business-like in the company, the Vince McMahon, if you will, of MMA. So it'll be interesting to see whether she stays on and tries to promote this. It seems like with those numbers, it's a no-brainer, right, Tommy? This is here to stay, right? Maybe it's not every month, but it's here to stay. If you're doing the greatest numbers of all time in the American market,
Gotta go
MVP,
again.
it's here, right?
Definitely. And Rousey is so smart. Like, even her saying, I'm done, that was it. That's the smartest negotiating tool she could say. Because imagine the money she's going to want again, it to go again. And there's already talk that the rematch with Holly Holm. That was such a. I was actually at that fight, Dane, in Melbourne with a pack of
Epic.
idiots. It was the best weekend. It was hilarious. We're pretty drunk for that fight by then, but it was good. But imagine that fight back under the MVP on Netflix. Like she's saying, "Oh, there's no, I don't want to come back." If you throw a decent figure at her, and it's pretty smart. So she's obviously a businesswoman. She knows what she's doing, and with someone like that at the head of leading that company and MMA, and it's a woman, I think it's a win-win-win for everyone. And Jake Paul's obviously a fan of her, so why not?
Show me the money, baby. The co-main. We all wanted to see Nate Diaz back. Hadn't fought since 2022 in the UFC. Mike Perry, known for his bare knuckle, right? Comes in there like an absolute terrier, destroys Diaz, mate, with the elbows, the attack, a full-on assault. At the end of that second round, Diaz was leaking all over the shop. His head was carved up. That shit was out of A Nightmare on Elm Street, mate. His face was destroyed, and good stoppage, mate, because he was going to leak. He was going to flood that. I think it was a hexagon, but he flooded the shit out of that cage, mate, and good stoppage. He didn't argue even too much with it. I think he knows all that tissue damage in his face from years of wars and the striking that he has. He takes shots. I love watching his style. We didn't even really get to see him strike, to be honest, because Perry was just
Mm.
all over him. I would have liked to have been able to see that classic Diaz cat paw style boxing, but we didn't even get a chance because Perry didn't give him a single second to breathe in there. Absolutely brutal performance. Perry himself hadn't fought in the UFC since 2021, but obviously has been fighting in other promotions. What did you make of that, mate? Because you do feel for our boy Diaz.
I did. It was almost like Perry went in with that bare knuckle mentality, the shorter rounds and just to bulldog people and put hands on them. And that's what he did, plus the elbows. And it was just a push forward pace. He hits so hard and he's just gnarly. Like, I don't know. He's a scary dude. And Nate Diaz's face just said it all. And I think it was a good stoppage. Another round of that. And Nate Diaz has no quit in him. Who knows? Like, that's some serious drain damage. And he doesn't need that.
Yeah, I don't know where he goes from here. It was good just to see him back again, like a Conor type thing. I mean, potentially one day, depending on how Conor goes, maybe even if Conor loses, there's that fight there down the track. And if Conor ever gets out of his contract, I imagine that he'd be more than happy to hop in bed with Jake Paul and earn a little bit more money to do one more fight with Diaz. We'll wait and see.
Definitely. And that's the thing I think with those MVP fights, they're just one fight contracts, aren't they? So they're not locking them in long term or, not like what the UFC does. So that's probably even more inviting for fighters.
Come and make a few mil. And we did see John Jones on the coverage. I was going to talk about that later as well because Francis Ngannou, first round knockout of Philippe Lins, 4:31 minutes, completely outclassed. Just watching Ngannou do his work, hits like a Prius. We've all heard the story before, but absolutely dominant. And it just makes you think what the UFC heavyweight division has been missing, right? Because he was the star, he was the champion of the division. Obviously, he went and fought in boxing recently, got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. That was his most recent fight. But seeing him back in MMA had to warm your heart a little bit because he was supposed to be the rock star of the heavyweight division, right? Good to see him back in there.
So good to see such an imposing figure. And man, I fell for that guy up against him. That was just like 100K to go and get absolutely destroyed. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So Ngannou is just a beast, man. And cool to see him back in MMA.
I don't know if you could pay me to get in there with Francis, maybe even for 30
No
seconds.
way.
Oh, you'd be all right, Tommy. You could leg kick him, use your Muay Thai. You'd be all right.
I I'd die. I reckon it'd be about 4
I'd
seconds, and
die.
full
Um,
medivac. Like on The Simpsons when Moe comes in with the fan into the ring?
yeah.
Like, that'd be me.
I'll
Yeah.
save you. I'll save you.
Yes,
Uh,
respect.
Mate, but the card as a whole, obviously, they made it so there was plenty of finishes. I mean, those are the three fights that people cared about. Junior Dos Santos as well, another name very familiar with fight fans. He got knocked out as
He got
well.
belted.
He did. I wanted to confirm too that card I was talking about. It was back in November 12, 2011, and that's when they put Junior Dos Santos against Cain Velasquez as the heavyweight fight, and that was one of the first MMA, if not the first MMA on free to air in America. That was the previous record holder before this Netflix card. That did
Wow.
8.8 million in the main event, averaged 5.7. But that's how I was 15 years ago, mate.
That's
And that was,
nuts.
I'm pretty sure that was the only fight they put. I remember everything was 1 HD back in the day. I was watching it on, remember they had that free to air channel and they had a bit of
Yes.
MMA, UFC on it.
Used
And
to
I'm
love
pretty
that
sure
channel.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was different, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was
Mm.
on, and I remember watching it back in Brisbane when I was a uni student back then, and I remember watching that fight and it being such a big deal that the UFC had got this deal with Fox over there to be on free to air, and was on free to air here in Australia as well. And then 15 years later, Netflix has come along and blown that
I
number out the
remember
water as far as watch cards go.
I remember JDS and John Jones were like the only two MMA fighters that were sponsored by Nike back in the
Yeah.
day. Mm.
Look at him now. Mate, that was the Netflix card, and we did touch on it. There was a fight night as well. Choi Do Ho, third straight TKO finish in the co-main event. That was one fight to watch if you haven't seen the highlights. Brutal body shots. But we haven't spoken, of course, since UFC 328. Sean Strickland shocks the world again, mate. No one gave him a chance. I was very vocal. We were vocal. No one thought Khamzat Chimaev was going down in this fight. And what does he do? I was in the arena the day that he beat Israel Adesanya in a very similar scenario where no one thought Sean Strickland was going to be the champion, the middleweight champion. He's now a two-time champion. I had it 2-2 going into the fifth. I scored it 48-47 to Strickland, which is how two judges saw it in the end. Chimaev had his moments, but whether it was it 20 kilos that was rumored that you've lost or whatever it was
Mm.
in the lead up, it seemed to have hurt him. He came out in the first round and did everything we thought he was going to do, and then everything just really turned to shit after that. Even pulling guard and Strickland being on top in the second, and then it turning into a striking battle, which no one really thought was going to happen. And then Chimaev actually having success on the feet. The fight was all over the shop, mate. I don't know how you predicted that one. I don't know what bets got paid out. If you went Strickland decision, good on you. But that fight, having Strickland as a two-time champion and potential UFC Hall of Famer, what did you make of the main event, mate? And where did you watch the main event?
I tried to watch it at the Aussie bar in Bangla Road, and it was a massive fail. I got there at 7:30 in the morning, fresh as a daisy, and everywhere was shut, and it was just the gremlins from the night before. I jumped off the motorbike and I was like, I got to get out of here. This is hectic. I thought I was going to get a knife pulled on me. It was all happening. So I rang the boys. I'm like, that was a massive fail. I'm coming back to the hotel. We watched it poolside on a laptop, and man, me and all my mates, we were like, have we just watched a different fight? Like I had it 4-1 to Chimaev, and
Did you?
yeah, I can't believe Strickland won. He took the belt of someone just jabbing on the back foot the whole fight. And yes, it was landing, and yes, he was picking him apart, and there was the odd one too in there, but there wasn't massive combinations. Chimaev was pushing forward the whole fight. I can't believe he couldn't get him down, or he chose to strike with him. But man, I looked at my mates, I'm like, did we just watch a different fight? And then for Joe Rogan to get in the ring and be like, that's one of the best middleweight titles fights I've ever seen. I'm like, what am I on a different planet, or what's going on here? Like, yeah, I was shocked. All credit to Sean Strickland. Like, his credentials now are pretty tidy. Like, he's won the belt, he's lost the belt, he's won it back. Yes, he's a pretty out there figure, but you have to admit, like, he's a bloody journeyman, and he's done it, and full credit to him. But yeah, I found it very strange. What was your take on it, Dane?
Yeah, it was a weird one to score. I think it was right. Like he came out very dominant the first, and then it flipped in the second, and then the last three rounds were like a stand-up weird battle. I think Strickland just didn't take too much damage. That's what I was probably
Mm,
putting my thing into, in the way that I was scoring it. But it's one of those fights where, it was obviously two judges to one scoring at 48-47. It easily could have went the other way. I just thought
mm.
Strickland just did enough in a fight that I wouldn't call particularly exciting or anything like that. I wouldn't agree with Rogan, but I just think Strickland had done enough. I know there was the whole, you got to take the belt from the champion, that type of thing, but Chimaev just didn't do enough for me. That was probably the way that I just read the
Mm.
fight. Just didn't do enough to me that he won the fight. And he looked like he'd obviously been affected by whether it was the weight cut or whatever it was. And then all this hate and the build-up that went into it, it sort of really did go out the window. I thought they generally
Mm.
did hate each other. And then, Strickland was very vocal after the fight that it was all just a bit of, I know how to sell a fight and that's what we have to do as fighters and that type of thing. Even Chimaev seemed very humble in defeat and the way he went down.
Chimaev put the belt round him. I wasn't
Yeah, it was
expecting that.
It was
Yeah.
almost yeah, from the moment they touched gloves, it was like everything that they did in the build up to that fight, there was shouts of terrorism. I mean, Chimaev said, "I'm gonna be a terrorist for you." Like, there was a lot of weird,
Mm,
crossing the line type barbs that were thrown by both of these guys leading into it. And then once they touched gloves at the beginning of the first, it was like, well, that really did go out the window. And if anything, the fight was the opposite of what everyone expected, not just in the result, but like the hate, the
mm.
anger, the trash talk, none of it really seemed to be there. It was a very respectful sort of fight, probably too respectful in a way, like
Mm.
just a weird fight from what we all thought it was going to be.
There was a moment there in the second round where Chimaev went in for like a takedown, ended up kind of laying on his back, and I was like, "Oh, he's gassed. Like this is early. Like, and maybe from that weight cut, I'm not sure." But then he kind of got a second wind and came back and really hung in for those 5 rounds. But yeah, it was just a strange fight, and for Rogan to get in there and be like, "That's one of the best fights," I'm like, I don't know. Was I watching something different? It was bizarre.
Drinking the UFC Kool-Aid, old Uncle Joe. Mate, yeah, interesting fight. Not the way we would have thought it went to
Mm,
go down. And then just in the
mm.
co-main event, Joshua Van does prove that he is the champion. Gets that knockout against Tatsuro Taira. Taira had some nice moments. Wrestling imposed himself. I think it went probably gives some confidence to Pantoja watching on the sidelines that he's going to be able to impose his wrestling. But Van has power in those hands, right? He can knock him out. He's a killer. And if you stand and bang with him, that's probably what's going to happen, right?
Dude, now that was a fight. That fight stole the card for me. That was a 5 round war. I can't believe Taishira was still standing after some of the shots and the combinations that he caught from Van. Van is a weapon, man. He's so quick. He's hits with venom. That was like there was moments there where we were just screaming at the laptop. Like I was stoked with what I was watching. I'm like, now this is a fight, and I think I was almost hungover from that fight into the Strickland fight of what I watched because that fight for me stole the show. Van's an absolute weapon, and I can't wait for that Pantoja rematch whenever that happens when Pantoja's healthy, and that's going to be awesome, man. Because Van is he's so good.
Yeah, it's good. That is the fight now to make. I mean, that's going to be very exciting. The flyweight champion, and yeah, bring on Pantoja. I think he is supposed to be fit, or he's coming into it now. So, I mean, he deserves that immediate shot when he is ready for that fight. Mate, that was a big couple weekends of UFC and now MVP if it hangs around. So why don't we get into some good or bad for fans? I'll just take a moment to thank our sponsor, National Freight Management. They specialize in domestic freight from cartons through to pallets nationwide. Gerard and the team do a great job. Check it out on nationalfreightmanagement.com.au. Tommy, good or bad for fans? Netflix MVP MMA, a new promotion to rival the UFC. We've now seen it in the flesh. Good or bad for fans?
Oh, I'm gonna say good. I don't know if I'm a fan, but I think more MMA is good for fans, and yeah, why not be spoilt for choice, I guess? What do you reckon, Dane?
Yeah, my thing in watching it was it doesn't have to be a competitor to the UFC in the fact that the best top 10, the UFC is going to own all of just about right the top 10 fighters in every weight division, men's and women's, top to bottom, which is what the case is essentially now. You've got some other fighters and other promotions who maybe sort of crack the top 10, but they'd have one or two. But the UFC has 90%, right, of all the top 10s in all the divisions. Why can't this promotion come in and be the gimmicky promotion that,
Mm,
people do want to see? Because the UFC didn't want to pay Ronda Rousey. They didn't want to see her fight Gina Carano hasn't fought since 2009, but there was an appetite to watch that fight. It's obviously
mm,
evidenced in the numbers. There's a want out there to see these types of fights. Diaz Perry, the UFC probably wouldn't make that fight, but it was still exciting, even though it was a crazy fight, and we still enjoyed watching it because we all wanted to see Diaz, and I'm sure Perry has his fans as well from bare knuckle. And Francis Ngannou, I mean, that's probably the biggest name they've got, who is a legitimate top 10 heavyweight, top 5, top 3. Champion if he was in the UFC probably, but to see him back as well. So if they can get that mix right of these, one or two guys who aren't in the UFC, they've got a top 10 fight, but then you mix it in with some old returning fighters coming back, why not? We saw John Jones at the card doing some analysis with the crew that were broadcasting the event, and they asked him, they were trying to pipe up this Ngannou fight, which would be massive. John Jones's comment was, "I'd have to get out of my contract with the UFC." But that's something they're angling towards. Potentially, John Jones one day fighting in Netflix. I could see it happening. So I think it is a good thing for fans that we have this now, and it could sort of complement the UFC as opposed to just being a competitor. That's how I would see it, anyway.
I agree with that, Dane. I think if you just had like 4 events a year and they're the gimmicky events, and the UFC is I see what you're saying, but in the natural progression, if you were in the top 10 of the UFC and your contract was up, would you go to this other promotion even though you're in your prime, even if you just fought once or twice a year and you get way more money, and then that's going to disrupt the UFC and their top 10 because they're going to lose people.
And Jake Paul's been very vocal about, I want fighters, whatever his agenda is, and saying these things, but he's been very vocal in saying, I want UFC fighters to get paid what they're worth, right? And now,
Mm.
if they go over there, there's potential that they can be. That John Jones Francis Ngannou fight, they were trying to pump it up a little bit.
That would be massive.
Good or bad for fans, mate? You want to see that one?
Oh, finally! If that happens, that's on par with a Conor McGregor return for me. I think that's like call in sick, let's go to the Sporting Globe, and
Hell yeah.
15 pints.
I'm down for that, baby. Um,
Yes. What do you reckon, Dane? Good?
Definitely good, mate. I think just
Mm.
seeing John Jones in general, he seemed to have his fair share of problems with Dana White and the UFC in recent years. No matter what, we'll never really know what's happening behind the scenes. But maybe he just needs a bad relationship. He just needs to get out, and we do need to see him go over and get into bed with Paul in his little VIP box with his girlfriend sitting at ringside, and then just go and make some money. Why not? Like if that's really what he wanted.
If you turn down 30 mil though with the UFC, how much are they gonna have to offer him to fight? Like what's he gonna want, like 50 mil? Like, is that feasible for them at this early stage of their promotion when it comes to MMA?
What if they just give him an offer he can't refuse? What if it goes to 50 mil, Tommy? What if we see the big numbers? Netflix, they got that money, son. They got my money. They got
True,
your money.
true. They got everybody's money. Apparently they got 320 million subscribers, all paying like $10 a month. That's big
Mate, it's
money.
more, right, it's more than $10. Right, it's 20 to
Yeah,
30, depending on the ad tier you want.
yeah, I think we get ads. That's not ideal. We're on the
He's on
cheap
the big
one.
bucks there, mate. Tommy Two Head, Two Gods, mate. And then Diaz, mate. The end of Diaz. If we know it as it was, we didn't really get to see him fight, but being out for so long and coming back, that you reckon it could be the end. I mean, maybe he still fights in fights like this, but man, another performance like that, I would not really want to see it. Good or bad for fans?
I think it's good. Nate Diaz is such a crowd favorite. I feel like he needs to fight in boxing because he needs the more padded gloves and no elbows because he opens up so easily from obviously all the scar tissue and all the wars he's had. But that just shows like, man, what a warrior, and yeah, always good for fans who's not going to tune in and watch him. So yeah, he's the man.
Well, this would be the perfect promotion for guys like this, as we just spoke about. Very easy one, mate. The return of the notorious one, Conor McGregor. We will finally get to see him. Fingers crossed. I think the last time was a broken toe against Chandler. But just to see him back, we already discussed it earlier in the show, mate. But I know he's got his haters out there, but this has got to be the best thing for fans, right?
Best thing for fans, best thing for the UFC this year. This is probably bigger than the White House card. Exciting, man. I can't wait to see him. It's just such a spectacle. And yeah, I'll probably have goosebumps when he's walking out. What about you, Dane?
100%, mate. I'll be 10 pints deep. It'll be a party. I won't be working. I reckon I'll take at least 2
Yes.
days off. Um,
Let's do it. We have a tear running down your cheek, a little something.
Will I, mate? It's an interesting one because I get emotional for Volkanovski. It's I have to think about. It's a good question. I get emotional for Volkanovski. Connor, I mean, I remember watching those Poirier cards up in Cairns with my mate Daniel. Shout out to Daniel. And I remember how disappointed and sad we were after those two losses, coming off the
Mm.
high of Donald Cerrone and what he was able to do there, and then just coming off the entire high of his run through the 2010s with the Diaz fights. Obviously, the two title fights, even the gimmicky boxing fight in between. To see him back, yeah, probably will bring a bit of emotion, mate. Maybe a little bit of a tear. Just when he's, yeah.
He's
Yeah,
brought some
I
good
will.
times, Dane. And good to see him back. I can't wait, man. I'll give you a little hug if you're tearing up, and we can tear up together, mate. It'll be happy
Mate.
tears.
Oh, thank you. You can wipe them for me, mate. And finally, just we spoke about our boy Rob Whittaker moving to light heavyweight, trying to prolong his career a little bit, but that move up for him, good or bad for fans?
I think Rob can do what he wants, and if that's what he thinks is a good move for his career, then I'm keen to see it unfold. And I think Rob Whittaker just still fighting in the UFC is good for fans, and particularly good for Aussie fans. So good on Rob, man. He's doing what he wants to do, and if that's the move, then I can't wait to see it.
Let's bring it on. The former champion, our boy. Let's go, Robbie. Bates, thank you very much, Tommy. I know you're still recovering just from the massive week that you've had. You survived over there. It's good to see. Hope the fight camp went well and you're here. That's the main thing,
We're
Tommy.
back
So
back in one piece. I got 5 sessions in, Dame, but it was plenty of singers over there. It was good fun. Shout out to my mate 90 that woke up at the wrong hotel on the daybed by the pool getting poked by a stick. So yeah, it was good times, man. Good times to be had. And shout out to Adam, whose bucks it was. It was good fun.
that's an all-timer, mate. I know we've all been there. I may have woken up in the wrong apartment room once back in the day because you have a big night. These things do tend to happen. Any punishment? He was okay the next day, mate. He survived. He was all right.
He
Got
was
back on
fine.
the.
He was an hour away though. He was at the wrong hotel an hour away. So that's a long ride home, especially hungover. And I got disorientated and couldn't find my room the first night, so I had to go to the lobby, and they let me into my room and put 2 bottles of water on my bedside table. So that just shows how beautiful the Thai people are. And man, it was such a funny trip. Pretty much just laughed for 8 days straight. It was epic.
Oh, that's beautiful to hear, Tommy. I'm glad you got taken care of and you had time for us on season ticket holders. As always, Tom Hayfield, thank you again for joining the show.
Thanks for having us, Dane. I love it. And yeah, bring on the fights. I can't wait, man. And hopefully we'll watch them together soon.
Let's go, baby. Thank you, Tommy, and thank you everyone for listening. If you could do us a big favor, give us a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. It'd be a big help. As always, guys, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.